Saguaro is at a crossroads. Players are leaving. Nearly the entire coaching staff is gone. It's a complete restart. And the thing, guys, that Saguaro has, one of their biggest disadvantages is we forget they're a 4A, maybe 5A enrollment, 1,500 kids. So it's not like these far East Valley schools like Perry and Chandler and Hamilton that have 3,000 or 4,000 students that they can pull from. It's going to be, I think, a pretty rough ride for the Sabercats this fall.
Are they an open team today, Eric?
Not even close, Brad.
Okay.
I talked to someone close to the football program at Saguaro, and they said, we're going to be lucky to win 2 or 3 games in 2024.
Wow. And that is, for those of us that have seen the high school landscape through the years. Zach, you hearing about the same stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the players leaving, I think, is the biggest factor in all of that. I haven't talked to anyone who thinks a certain record will be had for Saguaro, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. You go, 6-6 last season, you still win a 6A title. Or I think it was better than 6-6. Either way, you still win a 6A title, but you dealt with a lot of injuries. You graduated a lot of seniors, and the guys that you do have coming back, a lot of them are now gone. So it is going to be a difficult road. I'm rooting for Darius Kelly. I got to sit down with him, as Eric mentioned, for over an hour, getting to know him, his background, where he came from, everything that motivates him as a coach and a person and a human being. And I'm rooting for the guy. I really am. He's a great guy. I think he's a great leader of men and a leader of high school athletes, but it is going to be a little difficult. We don't even know what staff he has in place quite yet. All of that, I'm sure we'll probably find out fairly soon. But again, I think it might be a little bit of a difficult road with Saguaro just because of that schedule they have coming up. But I am rooting for Darius Kelly for sure.
Okay. And Brad, one thing I want to emphasize is I want Saguaro to be an elite football program, because when Saguaro is elite, it raises all the boats around them. And this is, I hope they give Darius Kelly time to build this, because I think he could have success. But you look at the players, as Zach mentioned, that have transferred, and there are going to be more that are going to be heading out of Saguaro. I just think there's so many moving parts heading into the spring and then eventually in the fall. It could be a bumpy ride.
What about Hamilton and what's gone on there in the offseason? Because, if we're talking about the mega programs in the state, Hamilton saying, Mike Zadebski, thank you very much for playing. He moves over to Shadow Ridge and we wish Coach Z well. That's a hard job on that side of town, in my opinion. And it turns around that Hamilton goes with a former player. Zach, what about the Hamilton hire here in the offseason?
I've heard nothing but great things about Travis Dixon. And I think he was the guy that boosters wanted all along, because he is an alum and he was obviously a very inspirational player for Hamilton, winning a state title as a quarterback. But I mean, I've heard nothing but great things. I've heard he's come in and he's led by example. I've heard he's put together a really good coaching staff. He's really done a nice job, and I think the kids love him too. So we haven't really seen a lot of players, at least to my knowledge, that have either essentially just come out of Hamilton. I think we've only seen some players that have come in.
Okay, one last thing, I'll get you both out of here, and I appreciate your time, and that is, give me a program, and we touched on several, so give me some others. There's 260 high schools in the state, but a program that you're both looking at as spring ball is now about to get started. So I'm really interested to see what is going to happen over here with this coach and this program. I'm hearing some interesting things. Zach, we'll start with you.
Yeah, for me, I think it's Mountain View with Andy Litton. Did a great job at Horizon. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do over there at Mountain View. I know Mountain View, I think, lost a couple players to Red Mountain, so obviously the transfer portal has hit Mountain View hard as well. But I'm excited to see what he's able to come in there and do. And we saw what he was able to do with Horizon, as I mentioned, winning a state title, going back to the semifinals last year and falling just short of Desert Edge. I think he's going to be able to take that program to the next level, sort of like what Joe Germain was on the path to doing before he took off. I really think that Mountain View is going to be a pretty darn good program under Andy Litton. So it's just a matter of, will it happen right away, or will it take about a year or two to kind of build up?
Eric?
Perry. Joe Ortiz is a great coach. And again, this is not something that I need to tell either of you two, but the jump that I saw last fall with the Pumas was pretty substantial, especially considering some of the opponents they had to go up against. You can see the momentum building at Perry, and I know Zach has been on this train for the last, I don't know, maybe a year or so, but I think this spring, this summer, and going into the fall, Perry is going to be a bit, maybe not an open division championship caliber program, but they are going to start to get back to where they were in the past.
That is Eric Sorensen and Zach Elvira, and that is AZ Audibles.